going on, Kaiser? First off, a round of applause for our locale here, the Indy on Main. And you good people for braving 30-degree weather coming out here as well. Thank you very much. I'm not your MC, but he's in the wings here, Mr. Tate Griffen. This guy embodies everything about comedy, just minus the laughter.
That's what passes for an introduction these days. Yeah, all right. I felt like, oh man, everybody's going to be so happy to be here. They're all going to be so pumped and excited. And then there was like 30 people more than what the fire marshal said was okay. So I'm thinking maybe there's a little bit of contempt and anger and animosity. So I'm going to get into a couple of stories. Is that good? Yeah! We're filming for TV. We got 3 cameras, so we need you to be super loud and pretend that we're a lot funnier than we really are. Is everybody on board with that? That was the test, and you did a good job. All right, well, here's a couple things. Depending on who you believe, either I decided to donate some of my time to the local homeless shelter, or there was some misunderstandings over what I consider to be an angry whopper, and I was required to do a little bit of, let's just say I had to put in some hours. We'll just say that. I had to help out with some community service. Anyway, one of the jobs I have at the homeless shelter, and this is 100% true, there's some people here that work at the homeless shelter. I'm not going to name any names, Michelle, but there's a few. And I'm going to tell you. You guys want to hear that? I need a little bit of encouragement. It's early. All right, the alcohol hasn't set in yet. All right. So one of my cider. All right. Like, I'm up here and you're out there and I'm having to say settle down. That's not cool. So one of my jobs there is I'm supposed to interview the folks that may come in to get a room at the homeless shelter. And one of the things you can't do is you cannot have committed any type of a felony that's tied to violence. That seems fair. It feels ironic that I'm saying that after 20 years of professional wrestling. But we're going to judge people if they've committed any violent felonies. So a gentleman comes in who's 66 years old, and about 50 years ago, he committed a violent felony. So it's my job to sit in a room this far from him and find out exactly what it was and see if there's anything I can do to let him slide in. I'd heard he was under 18 when this happened. So I thought, well, maybe there's a loophole. So we sat down. Like I said, he's about 66. He looked like he was 114. He kind of looked like Mumra from the Thundercats. Yeah, for real. And we're sitting there, and I said, sir, I hear you were a little under 18 when you did something kind of bad, and I was just wondering if you could give me the rundown. Maybe I can help you get a place here. He's like, I wasn't under 18, I was 23. I'm like, well, shit, there it goes. He's not moving in, but I gotta be on stage in a week, so I'm gonna find out what happened. There might be some stuff to mine, and as it turns out, here I am. For real. He says, well, what happened was, when I was about 23, I was napping on my couch, and my 5-year-olds running around like 5-year-olds tend to do, and I drifted off like dads tend to do. And, yeah. I drifted off like dads tend to do, and I woke up about half an hour later, he's gone. I didn't know what happened to him, I didn't know where he was, I didn't know what was going on. And I started freaking out, I'm getting ready to call the police. I better find out what the hell is happening here. And my mother-in-law lives 3 blocks down, so I thought I'd call her first, see what the hell's going on. And I called her, I'm like, I'm going to call the police, I can't find Billy, he's nowhere, I don't know what's going on. She's like, I came down there and you was napping on the couch, and you can't leave a 5-year-old running around while you're napping on the couch. First of all, no. 90% of my childhood was my parents napping. 100% of my kids' childhood was me napping. It's just a circumstance. So anyway, he's like, so I get justifiably upset. She came down and took my kid. And she's like, you ain't getting him back. You ain't getting him back till your wife gets all cat out tomorrow morning, so you can just forget it. And he's like, well, I'm not putting up with that. So I drive 3 blocks down. I knock on her door. I want to get my kid. My 5-year-old can't wait to come to the car because he likes me more than her. I get in the car. She's yelling and cussing at me. I don't want my kid to hear that. So I walk back inside her house. The classy thing to do is argue and not be in front of the kid. So I get back in the house. We're arguing. We're going back and forth. Things start escalating. One thing leads to another. And I killed her. What? Yeah, I stabbed her in the heart. I stabbed her in the heart, and she wouldn't shut the hell up. She was like making all these whine and moan noises. It was a baseball bat, so I just beat her to death. You beat her to death? Yeah, because when I stabbed her in the heart, she was gurgling and screaming, and those kind of noises can haunt you. All right. Then what happened? He's like, well, I went to jail for 20 years and I served 16 for good behavior. I'm like, I don't even know how that works. But okay. I served 16. I got out. When I got out, I was about 35 years old. Now, when you're in prison for 16 years, you go there when you're 23, things change because there's lifers in there. And they tell you to do what they want you to do, and sometimes you do it. So when I came out, I had changed my sexual orientation. His words, not mine. Sexual orientation. So when I came out, I met a gay man. We fell in love. He's a little younger than me. We moved in together, and for 5 years, it was bliss. It was great. Again, his words, not mine. I've been married 20 years, and I love my wife more than anybody loves anybody, but she'll tell you right now, it's not bliss. I'm just saying. By applause, who here has experienced wedded bliss? Exactly. So he's like, so anyway, he said, well, sorry. It's 100% true, and I try to wrap my mind around the whole thing there, but where was I? Somebody help me out here.
He was with the gay man.
Yeah. Thank you, masked stranger. So he's chilling. He's like, so it's wedded bliss. He's hanging out, it's wedded bliss. And I get there, and after 5 years, all the locks are changed. Every one of the locks has changed. And I'm like, I'm like, hey, you gotta open the door. You gotta come down here. We gotta work this out. You're breaking my heart. He's like, no, I don't want you. I want somebody younger. I found somebody. I was like, but my stuff's up there. I was like, no, it's not. It's in a storage locker. So this has been thought of. You're like, come on, man, you gotta come down here. So finally, he came down here. I'm like, you broke my heart. How could you do that? He's like, I don't want you anymore. So we started arguing. Things started escalating. One thing led to another. And I stabbed him. So you tried to kill him? No. They called it attempted murder because apparently if you murder somebody, anything else you do to that person is attempted murder. Like, you can't be a murderer and then back it off later. You're always going to murder. Like, yeah, that sounds like what I was thinking. All right. And again, at this point, I'm strictly in it for the material. So you didn't try to kill him? He was like, no. I said, okay, so where did you stab him? And he looks right at me and goes, here. And here. And here. And way up here. It's like, that kind of sounds like you tried to kill him. And he looked at me with the most condescending look and went, if I was trying to kill him, I'd have stabbed him in the heart like I did my mother-in-law. Dumbass. Like, how foolish of me. How silly of me. I'm like, all right, so they got you on attempted murder or they didn't? He goes, they got me on attempted murder, that's only because I stabbed him in the back twice when he was trying to run away from me. Like, oh my God. So he didn't die. He went, you didn't die from that. It's like, that sounds like you might know how he did die. He's like, no, I don't know, man, I don't know. It's like, all right, so what happened there? He goes, they gave me 30 years, and I got 20 years after good behavior. I'm like, man, you're like killing a lot of people to have good behavior. You think they'd be picking up on the pattern. But he's like, after 20 years, they let me out. And ever since I got out, I've been clean as a whistle. Okay. So how long have you been out? He goes, I got out last Tuesday. Do your rooms have cable? Like, well, bud, and this is honestly what I said. At the risk of things escalating, or one thing leading to another, I'm gonna need you to get the fuck out of here. To which he said, I kind of figured, I understand, all right. I see what you did there. That one thing after another. I did that twice and you did it. That's funny shit there, bro. You need to use that up on the stage. Then he left. I have no ending for that, so I take a small bow. Thank you. You guys have ever heard that? And I don't know where I heard it. I'm not pretending like I made it up. It's just an observation I made. But did you ever notice that in a mariachi band, the smallest Mexican always has the biggest guitar? Anybody else ever notice that? That's the exact same thing that happens with me in my car. I have a 1991 Geo Metro LSI convertible. It's like a roller skate. I put it on. I don't really drive it. I wear it. And my wife said when I ride it with the top down and my hair up, I look like a Happy Meal toy. I see you agree. I can hide the hurt. Something I wanted to say, that story, I mean, it's crazy, and that's on the, that's the men's homeless section. Well, there's also a ladies' homeless section, and there's nothing funny about that. I mean, we're all literally one or two missteps away from being right there, so I pass absolutely zero judgment on anybody that's in that spot. But the ladies, I had to watch, I'm not going to name any names, Sherry, I had to watch a desk for about 15 minutes down on the ladies' floor. I was told, just sit there, if somebody has a question, they'll come up and ask you, no big deal. And I thought, okay, 15 minutes, I can handle that. First time in my life I was able to handle 15 minutes. And so I'm sitting there, and this lady comes out who's pasty and white, and not on purpose, and probably about 60 years old. And she walks out, she comes over, and she goes, "Where the hell's Sherry?" It's like she had to step out. Well, we was told if there was anything that would make things a little better around here, we had a suggestion for our floor. We're supposed to come to this desk and give our suggestions. And you're here, so we're going to give you a suggestion. Like, all right, what is it? He goes, "Do you know Sarah Hansen?" Like, no. Well, Sarah Hansen lives down here. You'll know where you see her. She's got one big old boob. She's got one saggy-ass floppity boob. Okay. Okay. And? Well, she got one big old boob, one floppity-ass little saggy boob. She's breastfeeding. Somebody needs to tell her she needs to swap them titties every other day, because that shit's gross. God. It's like, after I took it in for a moment, it's like, okay, so could you tell me how that falls under the category of you making a suggestion to make the floor better? Because we're the one that have to look at the gross bitch. Oh my God. So Sherry couldn't have gotten back fast enough. And she did. And that was that. One of the... Thank you, masked stranger. One other thing I wanted to tell you guys before I brought up our next comic. Who here's a wrestling fan? I don't care for it myself, but yeah. Okay, thank you. When we were kids, we were huge wrestling fans. Me and my brother were big wrestling fans. You may have heard about that. And so when we were kids, what we did was there was never somebody that was the winner. There was never somebody who was number one. There was somebody who was the champion. The champion, the title holder. And we did it with every single activity we had. Whether we were filling 2 liters with sand and sitting them down on a long sidewalk and rolling a dodgeball and playing, Ghetto Town, South Cumberland bowling, there was a champion. If it was kickball or dodgeball or whatever, there was a champion. And since I was an indoor nerd arts and crafts kid, I was making the belts. Aluminum foil, cardboard, whatever. There were champions. The SCPWF champion, the South End Professional Wrestling Federation. It goes, there's a lot of history there. I'll spare you. But I made all the belts. Problem was, my brother's a much better athlete than I am, then and now. And so he ended up with all the titles. And it didn't really bother me too much because I was always the number 1 contender. I was always fighting for that belt. But then, when we got a little bit older, our friends started getting involved. And as they all got involved in the pool, I found that I started falling down the line a little bit. And I realized the only reason that I was ever the number 1 contender is there were only 2 people working that fucking belt. That was the reason. So I had to get creative with the titles. So there was an arts and crafts championship that I wore. There was a mini golf scorekeeper's title. there was a title belt maker's title belt that I got. I even got a participation championship. And that is when I realized that despite I hate it, I'm the one that invented the participation trophy. I'm the one that came up with that shit. The participation trophy. So if you're a helicopter parent and you give your kid a trophy and you feel like every kid deserves it, that's your business and I'm not going to judge you, but just a word of warning, this is what they end up looking like. Thank you. Are you guys ready to hear some awesome comics? I did the math and there's about 37 hours of drive time in this back room to come here and perform for you guys. Are you ready?